I think truly we must have there is a reality check globally, and that reality check is that the future challenges to healthcare may be too smart for anybody anywhere on this planet. Uh, Nobody had expected the size and the intensity of the devastation that the corona virus has caused to this planet, and nobody was prepared. No one was prepared. No country was prepared for this optimally. Now that's a reality check, which also means that perhaps uh, the science part of our understanding of illnesses and how new things could happen to humanity on this planet have to be above all thought through. Some of these things were expected. Contagion was expected. That was science fiction. But what happened was bigger than Contagion, and we did not expect. So I think it's a reality check that there is something beyond the conventional that we should be ready. Having said that, what we have learned in this pandemic is that the uh, the investment for health must be given the due importance. And how does that translate? That translates into a strong government, state, and central public health care system. I'm using the word care now first, and then I'll talk about public health. So we need a strong healthcare system, and a strong healthcare system, which is for our country, comprises both the government system as well as the private sector system, the private system. So we need to be stronger than where we are. Both it applies to both the private public sector, but equally importantly, and even more so, I would say, the private sector. We need to do hell of a lot more to make sure that the both pillars of the same building, the same edifice, are stronger and taller than ever before. And I think you heard, this concern in the public debates, and we know where we are. Looking at facilities, 1 per 1,000 is nothing. We need to double and make 2.5 times perhaps the current level of infrastructure in terms of beds. So we can go on and on in this regard, but then we simply do not have enough of our healthcare system. Look at human resources in particular. We may have a doctor patient ratio of 1 is to per thousand, 1 per 1,000 in the next 2 3 years. But if you add Ayush doctors, we already have 1.3. But the specialist deficit is profound. We need 5 times, typically 5 times the existing number of specialists, for which the pipeline will take much longer, and so on. So I think clearly much more needs to be done by way of creating these resources, infrastructure. Human are the ones that I am referring to right now, and above all, a connect, a seamless connect between public and the private. You heard me saying this repeatedly in the context of Ayushman Bharat. We do believe, coming from that day onwards, there is one system in India. Public and private is one seamless whole. It is a continuum. It is one. But I think we have not moved forward so much more that we should have moved forward, because Ayushman Bharat connected us. But then we are still, you know, not there. We only have 10,000 private sector hospitals, whereas we have all the 100% hospitals, part of Ayushman Bharat paradigm. Why two-thirds of our hospitals are not part of Ayushman Bharat? Can we not sit together and sort it out? So I would say I'll keep pushing you in a certain way, but then we need a strong healthcare system. For India, primary healthcare is largely government, if not wholly government, but private participation is there. Secondary, a huge equal partnership. And in the tertiary, we have a huge space for the private sector to lead, and we have our own centers of excellence that will also provide care. We have medical colleges. So I think we need a strong healthcare system, which is a combination and a great combination, rock solid combination of a continuous public-private, seamless one system for India. Second, I think we have learned that this by itself is or may not be enough, because prevention of disease is a different ball game altogether. And within that, we have learned that disease prevention pathways, disease detection pathways, disease control pathways These have to be extremely strong. Our National Center for Disease Control and other agencies rose to the occasion. But then our response could have been bigger. We needed a presence in states which we did not have. We needed a huge presence in the district that we did. We managed, we continue to manage, but it also shows to us how much more energy, capacity, technical competence, vibrance, efficiency, and reach is required for us to have a wholesome control over diseases that would appear, whether they are non-communicable diseases or even more deadly communicable diseases. I think we are fortunate that we had intrinsic strengths to handle this pandemic coming from H1N1, and we had great teams in our system. But for the next pandemic, this may or may not be sufficient. And then to extend it to other forms of diseases, the non-communicable diseases, and so on, the disease control system is definitely should be much stronger for future challenges. The third element is clearly we have learned that we cannot depend on anybody for our technologies, for our products. We have learned the hard way how we were helpless in the month of February, not having even one capability to produce one PPE and such a limited capacity to produce the ventilators and the masks and so on and so forth. We responded to this. That showed our potential. But on that day, we did not have it. If there was no lockdown, the peak was intended to happen in the month of May. We didn't have enough PPEs even for the top consultants, leave alone anybody else. So we have learned that we have to be Atmanirbhar. We have learned that APIs cannot be outsourced and expected from another nation to come. No, we have learned that we need to be able to stand on our own feet for oxygen sufficiency, for diagnostics, and so on and so forth. So I think we have learned, and we are fortunate that we have a science enterprise and a business enterprise and the industry enterprise, which can respond and play the larger role. We are not starting from zero. We have a great presence and the base, but on that base, we need to have a much bigger enterprise than what we have today. And we must have milestones which say we have done this. We do not depend on external supply of APIs for 90% of our needs, 97% of our needs. We do not depend on incubators to be imported from outside, or PET machines for that matter, MRI, linear accelerators for that matter. We have the capability. So we have realized that these capabilities, fundamental capabilities, must be there. Fourthly, we have also realized the lessons in stewardship and how whole of government response has to be mounted. There, I'm sure Rajesh Bhushanji, if you have time, you may like to dwell how the government responded. And that's an example by itself, in a federal system to work together in a hugely orchestrated way. I think is an amazing example that we have learned. But then, can we do that on an ongoing basis for our day-to-day, strengthening of the health system, working together to increase, capabilities in the district level functioning, ensuring specialty care at the district level, hospitals, mental health care for the district hospital, and so on. And lastly, yes, we have spotted some gaps in our system. Mental health is one of them, where definitely our response needs to be much more robust. That has stood out. Likewise, it has also stood out that when it comes to critical care, these are the things that Vicky, you, and technical people should discuss. Why we had such a thin critical care capabilities? Why did we have some mental health? We are still not able to rise to that level as you expect. Is it about human resources? It is about tools. It is about dissemination. It is about recognition. So I think these are the 5 things I'll just put on the table for discussion. Around this, of course, there would be so much more that we can talk about. But let me say 2 or 3 things that are relevant as a message for us. Firstly, I like you to be informed that in the new guidelines for priority sector lending, the investment for health facilities in tier 2 to tier 6 cities has been enhanced from 5 crore to 10 crore. This was one of your demands. Of course, we were asking for a cap to be a much higher, but nonetheless, it has moved to 10 crore facilities that will be created in tier 2 to tier 6 centers, at least for let's say small and medium sized facilities. I consider this to be a stimulus. We wanted this to be part of the social infrastructure stimulus which the banking system provides, and the new RBI guidelines have addressed that issue to some extent. We, of course, will continue to strive for a much more facilitatory enablers to strengthen the building of infrastructure across our country. Lastly, I would like to request you that the government, central government, along with state governments, are embarking on a huge behavior change endeavor from next week onwards. This should be a Jan Andolan of the like that has never has happened here in our country in the history. We have had successful campaigns which were sustained in a very different way, whether it was Swachh Bharat or it was polio eradication and so on. But this one should be the biggest of all because it deals with a calamity which is affecting the lives of each one of us. And we do believe that prevention is better than any cure. Once a disease happens, we have devastating consequences. We have long-term consequences. We 1 lakh, almost 1 lakh, individuals have died. They, individuals were father or brother or sister of somebody, and not acceptable that this number uh, should continue to hurt us. Although these numbers in terms of rates are acceptably low, but the point remains that even if we are reaching hopefully a plateauing of the pandemic, there is hell of a lot of pandemic to still happen even after the plateau in a Gaussian curve. 50% events happen after the so-called peak. So there is a lot that may still happen. We believe there is laxity in our individual behavior. We are worried about the winter season. We are worried about the festival season that's coming up. And therefore, to work on the prevention side is even more important today. This time we are doing it voluntarily. This time we are doing it without a lockdown. And we have to prove to the world that we will not fail in the next 100 days in any which way. And therefore, there is a Jan Andolan launching in the next 1 week. You will be hearing through other channels, but we are happy to share here with you. And we want you to rise to the occasion. Show us how and what we can do through your organization on scale in this country. It's about disseminating the messages around a universal mask, embracing the mask, the physical distancing, hand hygiene, use of Ayush products, protecting the elderly, and so on. Those are the messages that we are well aware of. But these messages need to be taken to a level and to be taken to such a loud level that everybody would hear and change, hopefully. Ultimately, it is not what we are hearing or what we want to be done. It is what we would actually do. And we think there is a huge potential. In terms of our 5 pillars of a 5 pillar strategy that we have, and that's my last comment, it is about preventing the illness from moving from one to the other, and that's the COVID safe behavior that we are talking about. It is about vaccine, which does not exist. So second pillar for prevention does not exist. Thereafter, it is about surveillance and disease containment through containment measures, uh, positive tests to be positive individuals to be isolated, case the contacts are to be quarantined, and we contain the population from the rest of the population so that this does not spread. That is surveillance and containment strategy. And the fourth pillar is about care seeking and uh, hospital or home-based care of the people who are affected by the disease. And the fifth one actually is a connector of sort, and that is our testing strategy. So out of the five, we only way we can have primary prevention today in the absence of a vaccine is about COVID safe behaviors. This is a social vaccine, which Rajesh Bhushan ji, this is the term he coined, and I endorse it. I love this term, social vaccine to be scaled up from the level that we have today to an unprecedented level. Let the people of the world notice that we will bend the curve uh, further by this effort in the next 100 days. And conversely, if we don't work hard on this, remember all the other three options, fifth one does not exist today, are already in operation. There's only that much we can do for the rest. And God forbid, in the coming months, our capabilities to handle the cases should not get breached in the challenging 3 months that we are going to see ahead, 3 to 4 months that are lying ahead. So my plea is join this Jan Andolan. Let's do something very, very big on the part of FICCI. We can get into discussions anytime soon together, and let it be noted that FICCI made the difference. Thank you very much for the opportunity, Jai Hind.